Welcome to another episode of C's Backyard Bees. Today it is extracting day. So in this video we are going to talk about the tools that it takes to extract, why we are extracting, that's probably going to be first, then the tools, and then just our process and how we do it. Why are we extracting in June is a simple answer. I am out of waxed frames for my supers. I have enough for 6 supers full of waxed frames. That gives me 6 times 8 is 48 frames. So I have ran out in order to stack. Also, this hive back here, when you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 honey supers on it, and that top honey super is full of honey, it is not only tall, but it is super heavy to get on and off. So that is another reason I don't like them getting that tall. It's just a lot of work to be able to get on and off by yourself. So we are going to take, yesterday we put queen excluders on. Let's check out that process real quick. So we are going to extract what capped frames we have. So we use bee escapes. We just throw them on 24 hours prior, and then we'll come out here and take what is capped tomorrow in order to harvest it. So this top one's definitely capped. This one had some brood in it, so we are not going to bee escape it. Just because if you separate the brood from the workers and all the workers go down, that brood might freeze tonight, and then that would set the colony back. This is also a hive that we made a split from, and the virgin queen hatched somewhere around the 3rd. So she's running around here somewhere, but should be laying sometime next week, kind of based on the math, if you were going to do some mathing around that. So we're just gonna quickly throw on this bee escape, and then we're going to do the same process with our bigger hive that we're not going to record, just because that bigger hive is a little more aggressive, and I'm going to use my camera woman to help me out with that. So we're going to throw this bee escape on there, and that is going to be the end of that. When putting the bee escape on there, super easy. You just have to make sure that it is faced the right way. So I'm going to take off my queen excluder and just lay my queen excluder in front of the hive. I'm going to make sure that my queen is not somewhere on that excluder. Super rare that that would happen, but it would sure suck if she was. So I'm just going to lay that in front like that for a second. And then with your bee escapes, you have a hole in the top and then fancy screen on the bottom. The fancy screen goes down, and then we got lots of bees on the side, so we're just gonna kind of slide it on sideways like this, and just like that the bee escape is on. Put it back together and call it a day. So this way, tonight all these bees that are in here will move down, emptying the super out, so it will be easy to grab those frames and to harvest them. And that is that. And now the process is we are taking everything that is capped out. There are a couple frames in some of those supers that are not capped. We're going to be using a bee brush in order to get those out. Usually I like 2 people to do this, but sadly my daughter got sick and couldn't go to daycare this morning. So it is just me. Usually we have one person taking frames out, sweeping them off and giving them to the next person to put them in the bin and keep all the bees out. The reason we want to keep all the bees out is because we extract in our house. So obviously bees in the house is never a good thing. That's not where they belong. So come with me, one-man show today, and let's see how we do this in my hives. Alright, so our big hive on the end has been awfully cranky for a while, so I'm going to jump into this hive first. I think I'm going to pull all the frames out of the ones that have had the queen excluder, and then I'm going to come back and go under the queen excluder. I'm going to repeat that with both hives. That way, as you're stilling their honey, obviously it's not something that they like. They want to protect that honey. So we're going to have a lot of bees in the air wanting to protect that honey, I think, especially in that large hive. So we're going to take capped honey, capped honey, come back, go under the bee escape, and repeat that process on both of them. So I'm just going to kind of show you what process we do have. So again, those bee escapes do an amazing job. They don't require any chemicals, and it allows 99% of bees to get out of here. So that is super good. So this side's completely capped, but this side's not. So I'm just going to leave that one. I'm going to put it in the middle when we are done. Just because I know that capped honey is ready to go, and uncapped honey requires me to check it with some kind of refractometer, which is fine, but I just don't want to go about that in this earliest one. So this is 90% capped on both sides. Definitely going to take that one. We got some drone bee hanging out. We got a couple worker bees hanging out. So we're just gonna sweep them off gently, put them into my box, and we're gonna repeat this process just a bunch of times. So just removing it, taking a look at it. It's 90% capped, putting it in my box. So again, that looks outstanding, 90% capped. Sometimes just a little breath on the bees makes them fly away. And this is just easy peasy. That one they haven't even touched. Again, great looking frames. Brush those bees away. Alright, so let's talk about the tools that we use in order to extract. The first thing that we need to do is take the caps off of the honey frames. A bread knife comes in handy. They also sell heated knives, which are also super handy. We just haven't gone that route yet. A bread knife works just fine most of the time. Our first year we bought this, like, I call it a roller of death. It's just like a paint roller with a bunch of spikes on it. And I think for like your early season, it works really well. It just pops a hole in all the caps. However, once it gets all gunky, it doesn't work as well, so we don't use this one as much. And then we have your comb of death is what I call it. I'm not really sure what it's called. It's called a capping scratcher with metal handle, or with metal teeth. So you just kind of dig underneath the caps and take them off that way. So after we take the caps off, we put the caps into this pan, and we just drilled holes in the corner of it. That way, whatever honey is left over, just by a little bit of gravity, it just goes into a bowl, and then we pour that bowl into our strainer, which I forgot to grab. So we're pulling out of the supers in a bin. We take the cappings off of it. We have a 2-frame electric extractor, and then this spins, makes the honey go, hit the sides, and then it all drains down into a food grade bucket that we put a, I don't know, what do you call that? Opener hole. Sealed opener hole thing that eventually will fill up our jars. So that is the very basics. One thing that I don't have with me that I need to go grab is we also have a double sieve strainer as well that goes over this. It just gets any other cappings that gets into the honey. We try and keep all our cappings out, and any other debris, just normal bee stuff, it keeps out as well. So that's all the tools. Let's get started.
Poor puppy.
Poor puppy. Good puppy. There's the empty extracted frames. Up here we have all our cappings that will probably slowly drain overnight. And then last but not least is our bucket of honey. We'll end up with right around 5 gallons of the stuff, as we still have a bunch left in there as well. Now it's time to start the cleanup process. So some people let the bees clean the equipment. I'm not a big fan of that. We did that one year. We had a ton of bees die because they were just fighting over it. They were drowning in the honey. It was just a mess. So I don't let the bees do that, but lots of other people do, so it's one of the opinions that's kind of completely up to you. Alright, cleanup is kind of the worst part of this whole process, in my opinion. When you're cleaning up your extractor, you want to use cold water, so I just take it to the compost area with the hose for the initial clean. You don't want to use hot water because that wax and that's left over can melt, and then you have a bigger mess on your hands. So cold water to scrape everything off using fingers, hands, whatever you can. At the end of the season, we take the whole extractor apart and do a deep clean and lube everything, but we'll do that here on our next uncapping. Today is just all about getting the wax and the honey out before we do a little bit better of a cleaning at the end. So let's do that. So after getting all the junk out with the cold water from the hose and then doing a little bit of soap and warm water just to rinse it out, we do a little hand towel on it. Again, bees are interested in the extractor, so the faster that you can do it, the better off that you are, just because once bees find it, like they like the smell of that honey and that wax and everything that's been on it. So the faster process that you can make it, the better off you are. So we're going to dry it out. We're going to put a trash bag over the top of it just to keep bugs and debris out while we store it for the next time. Alright, so we are going to put those empty frames, they call them wet frames because they still have honey all over them. We're just going to put them right back where we found them. I'm going to put 2 on our big hive. I'm going to put 1 on the small hive. They're going to take that honey out of them and just clean them up for me and start refilling them. We have our next flow coming up very soon. It typically hits at the end of June, early July, so that's another reason that we did some extraction right now, is because we have that next heavy flow coming. You can already see these guard bees coming on me. They're not that happy that we were in their hive, so it's going to take them about a day to cool off, which kind of sucks as a backyard beekeeper, but that is the way that it is. So we let these cappings drain, and we got probably pretty close to 40 more ounces by just letting these cappings drain. They just drain through those holes into, I had a bigger bowl under there earlier that I dumped into our honey buckets, but what we do with them now is internally feed them back to one of our weaker hives. So this is our weakest hive. We put all those cappings in the top. They'll slowly, you can already see them all coming up out their top there, and they will clean all that up, and tomorrow I'll just come back and scrape all the wax out and let the cleanup process begin. So after all of that, what ended up being the result? We ended up with 1 bucket, probably about a quarter full, and then this bucket being basically all the way full. That's where the strainer hits the top of the honey, so that's where we pull it out. And then those 2 buckets on the scale is reading at 74.8 pounds of honey. The buckets weigh 2 pounds apiece, so that puts us right around 71 pounds. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and I will see you next time.